This episode of the Empty Netters podcast is brought to you by LABATT Blue Light. It is playoff time, baby. We are finally here. And you know that means you need to get together with the crew, get together with the family, sit down and enjoy some NHL Stanley Cup playoffs. And there is no better way to do that than with a cold, refreshing, delicious LABATT Blue Light. You know why LABATT Blue Light is the best beer for hockey and the best beer for life? Because every single bottle, can, and pint is brewed with Canadian kindness. And you know that's the top-notch level of kindness. LABATT Blue Light is the best beer to have when you're hanging out, watching the game, enjoying the sun. We're getting that spring, summertime here. No matter what the occasion, no matter what the situation, LABATT Blue Light is going to be the best beer for you and your friends and your family. Crack a bottle, crack a can, or sip back a pint today. The Zamboni doors are shut and the ice is ready, and we've got another emergency pod Western Conference playoff picture preview. CP, where the hell are you? Are you in a spaceship?
I am in a spaceship. That is actually exactly correct, Dan. I'm in a spaceship. The playoffs got too nuts. The drama's too nuts. I can't be here on this planet anymore. I'm going to orbit till June. I'll come back. You let me know how everything shakes out, all right?
I will. And I don't blame you for 1 second, dude. We talked about the Eastern Conference and how it came down to the wire and it changed the entire playoff picture for the East. Would you look at that? We had one more game. Two more games, really.
The same shit.
Two more games that changed the landscape, and the Kings go to OT against the Blackhawks, and they win, and Vegas loses, gets thumped 4-1 by the Ducks. Our boy Frank Vitrano ends the season with 37 goals. How are ya? But now the Kings play Edmonton again for the third year in a row in the first round.
And I guess they were going to catch. I wanted the Preds. I've said this a million times. I wanted Preds Dallas, and I was the Kings. I'm like, dude, you want Vancouver, you don't want Edmonton. But unbelievable flip flop. I was talking to Locks before the game that I was telling him we had to record this Friday morning, so we had to see how the game shake out. And he said, well, if Vegas wins, that you already know the outcome. And Vegas is playing the Ducks, and they're minus 450, so they're going to win. And then I texted him less screenshot of the game last night, and he was like, lol, dude. And that's why you play. That's why you play the game, Dan.
It is. And it's like we saw people were saying that the Bruins dumped games so they wouldn't have to play Tampa. People are saying that Vegas dumped games because they didn't want to play at Edmonton. And it's just, it's crazy. I don't believe any of that nonsense, but the way it's all shaken out has just been wild.
Before we dive in, because I know people are chomping at the bit for the West, I hope everyone listened to our Eastern preview. It's up on YouTube, on Spotify right now. But I wanted to give you one little factoid, Dan. I don't know if you noticed this because I hadn't noticed it yet. And in fact, this factoid came from our boy Matt Stanley, who was over popping on some Mars blades yesterday. And he was like, dude, did you know this?
Matt.
Can I tell you, Dan, what the matchups in the East would have been if we were doing a 1 through 8 instead of the division?
Of course.
Number 1, Rangers versus number 8, Capitals. Number 2, Hurricanes versus number 7, Islanders. Number 3, Florida versus number 6, Tampa. Number 4, Boston versus number 5, Toronto. So boo-hoo, everybody who's these first-round matchups are ridiculous. This playoff format isn't fair. Florida, Tampa in the first round. I'm like, that's what it is. Like, it's the literal same matchups. And I'm one of the ones about it too, but it's just so funny.
It's lucky. It's lucky that it shook out that way. That's not how it happens every time. But yes, that is really funny.
Because in the West, it ain't like that at all. So are you ready to dive in?
I absolutely am, dude. Take me there.
All right, again, we're going across the country. So we're starting at Central, top seeds down, over to Pacific. So first matchup, the Dallas Stars versus the Vegas Golden Knights. Are you ready to give your guess? This is a nightmare scenario for me.
God damn it.
I know, dude.
Yes, I am.
Okay. 3, 2, 1. Dallas
Stars and 7.
Dude, this is, and it's ironic that we started the last preview with my least favorite matchup, and I mean that because it's the best matchup. This is my Florida Tampa, Dan. Like, I can't believe I had both of these teams making such a legitimate run. I can't believe that they're both facing each other in the first round.
I know it sucks so much because I really do love both of these teams. This is an interesting one, dude, because we talked about how great Dallas's depth is. Their stars are playing, and they're not playing at a nuclear pace. They're playing at a very steady point per game pace. And then their second, third line guys are just, I mean, dude, shout out Witt, said it best. Their third line is a first line on a lot of other teams. It's really insane. I don't like that Vegas swept the series 3-0 against them this season. And that wasn't necessarily when Vegas was at full power or playing their best hockey either. So the big question is, we've got Stone back. You've got Petro back. Aiden Hill is apparently at full health. I hate the matchup for Dallas. Dallas really needs to get over the hump. They need to make a run here. It's time. There's no more excuses. There's no more, oh, well, yeah, we're still developing, blah, 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 blah. So they need this. I really do think they do. I think they should be a cup favorite candidate, and they need to win. What bothers me the most, or what worries me the most, is Vegas going to be clicking? I'm not sure that with the addition of Hurdle, with Stone coming back, with Petro coming back, I'm not sure that they're going to just ease right into what they were doing last playoffs. But if we get into these first two games and they win one of these first two emphatically, then I'm terrified if I'm Dallas.
Yeah, you said it. The season series, Dan, rattled me. I didn't notice that till I looked it up. And you also said this. A lot of people saying Vegas lost to the Ducks on purpose to catch Dallas. But I will say, man, by doing that, they bumped themselves into the central side of the bracket now because they fell into that wild card. I think you would much rather play the Kings Oilers winner than the Jets Avs winner, so yeah, I don't think anybody's actually saying they lost on purpose, but for the people that are, they didn't want to be on this side of the bracket. I don't believe so. That's craziness. I wrote down, Dan, Dallas this year is the Vegas of last year. When you're looking at the rundown, Robo leads the team in points with only 80, right? Sagan, Mason, Jamie, Dutchy, Joey Tiptree, Robo, all 20 plus, Rupe, Wyatt, 30 plus, Miro, 54 points, Stankman, 14 and 24. You just look at that depth scoring without a 90 point guy. And you're like, damn, these guys can just roll lines and fuck us up. Otter didn't blow you away this year. 905 save percentage, 272 goals against. And he didn't blow me away in the playoffs last year, by the way, I would add. I don't know if you agree with that, but he's good, but he wasn't the Otter that I know he can be.
Definitely not.
You're going to need that, right? Big time. So that's where I was starting to lean Dallas, but then I looked at Vegas, and you're right. I was like, who else is the Vegas of last year? Vegas this year. And
Vegas again.
It's like Marshy, 42 goals record for a Golden Knights franchise. Pretty sick. But 69 points, Dan. Didn't Eichel lead the team last year with that exactly? 66?
I think it was 67.
Yeah. So it's like Jack 68 and 63, Willie 30 and 30. Great year. Stevenson, good year. Stoner's back. Petey's back. Hannafin's here. Hurdle's here. The big question I have, Logan Thompson, 908, 270. Aiden Hill, 909, 271. They basically split time, Dan, in April. They literally just traded games back and forth. Hill just got lit up by the fucking Ducks, but he also beat the Avs. Logan beat the Canucks, but lit up 7 by the Yotes. I don't know who you put between the pipes there. I don't know if you've heard anything, but that's a tricky one.
I don't think it's tricky. I think it's Hill just because of last year. If Logan pisses and moans about that, I think it says everything you need to know. And you just go, yeah, we made the right decision with Hill. I think you start Hill, but you feel comfortable going to Logan if Hill struggles. Ottinger freaks me out, dude. Like he started all 3 games against Vegas. He lost all 3. He was 0-1-2 with a 3.21 goals against and a .885 save percentage. That's very bad in general and very bad for him. So yeah, it is the nightmare. I really do think this is the nightmare first round for Dallas. Like I said, they need this. Their franchise needs this. The players need this. They can't lose this series. Yeah. And Vegas, looking at it on paper, can Vegas lose the series as a franchise? Sure. Like, they just won the cup, whatever. It's like Colorado last year. When Colorado lost to Seattle last year, was anyone saying blow up the team, blow up the franchise, people need to be fired? They were like, no, whatever.
This is your freebie year. You have one
like,
freebie.
we just won the cup. Seattle's surging, whatever. If Vegas loses to Dallas, the number one team, they go like this. Yeah, they're the number one team. And also we're hurt as fuck. We have guys who just came back. Two of your star forwards in Hurdle and Stone just came off LTIR. Like, you have every excuse in the book. So Vegas, pun intended, is playing with house money.
Yeah.
And it's just awful for Dallas. Like, you're just terrified of all of this.
Yep. We both think it goes the distance. This is going to be a fucking slugfest.
Yeah.
Crazy to see who comes out of it. Okay. Next one. Ready?
Yes.
The Winnipeg Jets versus the Colorado Avalanche. I flip-flopped on this pick several times.
Okay.
3, 2, 1. Avs
Winnipeg in 6.
Shit, I had that, dude. Fuck. Okay, here's why. I'll say, and you want to talk season series bullshit again, Dan. Jets win 4-2 in Colorado. Jets win 6-2 in Winnipeg. Jets win 7-0 in Colorado.
Yep.
A 3-0. Fucking shit kicking 3-0 too. Not just like, oh, pretty good games. Like, have your number type of shit kickings in 3 games. I wanted the Jets. I felt like, Dan, you and I have been joking for a month that the Jets, it's been so unlucky, right? This playoff format's fucking them. And by the way, you want to talk standings? They're second in the West. Dallas Vegas is 1-8 if we went that way. Jets are 2, Avs are 4. This is where it's really unlucky, where you're like, that is a shit matchup. We've been joking that they're cannon fodder. The playoff format totally fucked them. They had this awesome season, kept all their boys just to get run by the Avs or the Stars in the first round. And then I'm kind of looking at the breakdown and I'm like, are they going to get run? Like they look really strong.
Yeah, dude, I hate this. Like in January, I picked Colorado to win the cup. I picked Nate to win MVP. Kucherov's going to win MVP now, and Colorado's going to lose in the first round. Yeah. So it's all falling apart. I really think this comes down to a couple things for me. Here's the thing. I pick Winnipeg in 6 because I think if it starts going poorly, it will go poorly before it gets to 7 games. Now,
for the Avs, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just, betting against Nate feels so dumb this year. Like, he's such a freakazoid this season. And I think at the very least, he might truly throw this team on his back and carry them to a first round win. But the goaltending is where it gets hairy for me. And it's funny. I think Georgiev had the most wins of any goaltender this season. He is a workhorse just like Hellebuck is. They both have played a lot of games, and Hellebuck is just a Vezina candidate. Georgiev is not. And Georgiev has been playing very poorly as of late. That makes me nervous for the Avs' longevity here. Winnipeg also tied for Florida with fewest goals against in the NHL. Big thing for Colorado is going to be scoring goals, and you're going up a team that doesn't give up a lot of goals. Winnipeg's been playing terribly.
Yeah.
The last 15 games has been pretty bad for Winnipeg. So
I would almost say, Dan, it was like the last 6, they've been back to normal, but the 15 before that, I was like, yo, you guys are fucked.
Yeah. So there's worries on both sides. I just think Winnipeg is better than people give them credit for. A lot of people calling them fugazis going into these playoffs, and I just don't think that's the case. I think this was a big fuck you year for Winnipeg.
Yeah.
Everyone talking about Scheifele and Hellebuck leaving as a certainty. They were like, why would they ever come back to this shit city with these, bad fans, bad place to live, blah, 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 all that bullshit narrative. And I think that they put that to bed quickly and pretty intensely with that motherfuck attitude. And I think that they're coming here into playoffs going, and it doesn't stop here. It doesn't matter who we're playing. I don't give a shit if it's Nate Dogg and the Avs. It doesn't stop. And I think that they are coming for blood this year. They did pick it up in those last several games of the season, and I could just see them slapping Colorado in the mouth. And that's that.
Five 20-goal scorers, 2 30-goal scorers, right? You love that
Yep.
depth. And Dan, I also thought it was really interesting. We've been talking about Hellebuck 60 starts, right? They rode him big time this year. There are several teams that the Jets could have played where their opponent had a much fresher goalie. Colorado is not one of them. Like you said, Georgiev 63 starts, and the numbers, there are a big discrepancy. You'd much rather Helly in net. I will say last year in the playoffs, Helly gets the win in game 1 at Vegas, gives up a goal, and then gives up 5-5, 4-4 the rest of the way, and then their gentleman swept. And he was another guy we both had our eyes on last year, being like, he might steal the series, and he did not, right? So
Yeah.
I don't think maybe you do need him to steal this series. That might be too harsh because like the Jets finished ahead of the Avs, but you certainly need him on his shit, right?
Definitely. It's not a steal might not be the right word because they have such a good group that it's not like, hey man, we don't have the talent on the ice to win games here. You need to steal this series. You need to steal a bunch of games, but he does need to perform. I mean, you can't go up against Nathan McKinnon. And I don't mean to just keep saying Nate, you know, you're going up against Nathan McKinnon. You're going up against Mikko Rantanen. You're going up against Ross Colton and Zach Parise. You're going up against Valerie Nichushkin. You're going up against Cale Makar and Devon Taves. They got a lot of great players on this team. And I'm forgetting some of them. Sorry.
Yep.
You know, it's like,
Nichushkin having 2 last night or 2 nights. Yeah. But like, you're like, God, yeah, Jesus Christ, dude. You know, like I forgot about that if you're playing them.
And they've got a few, you know, there are a few game breakers too in this. Like Ehlers didn't play last year for the Jets. People forget that. He's a huge player for them. Nichushkin's been in and out of the lineup for Colorado all year. He's back. He looks healthy. He looks focused. So I think it's going to be a slugfest, but again, it comes down to the goalies for me. I really do think it comes down to the goalies. And I think if I'm a betting man, I'm betting on Hellebuck, and that's why I'm taking Winnipeg.
Dude, the Jets have been dealt with a lot of injuries this year, a lot of shit injuries. Everyone's pretty healthy at the right time, so that's a big benefit. The reason I had the Jets for most of this build up to our pod is because of the goalie. The only reason I flopped back to the Avs is what you said at the beginning. If the Avs hadn't lost in the first round last year, I would have picked the Jets. But just I think them going through that and they're like, we're not doing that again. That's the only reason I went back. Okay. 2-7 game, or I guess you picked 6, but those 2 are going to be diesel series. Those 2 we've talked about so far. All right. Next one, the Vancouver Canucks versus the Nashville Predators. Do you have your answer?
I do.
Okay. 3, 2, 1. Preds
Canucks
in 6.
I like it.
Preds in 6, baby.
I like it,
man. All right. Tell me why. Actually, you took Jets, which is technically chalk still. That's like the devil's rag situation. So talk to me why you're still chalk here on the Canucks.
I just think they're so good, dude. It's not been this is also a shit. 2 months ago, if you would have told me Vancouver Preds, I'm going like this. Oh,
Preds in 4. Preds in 4.
Easy money Preds. Yeah. I'm going easy money. Like what a dream draw for Vancouver. They got a team that limped in, but shit, this is not a team that limped in. I mean, Nashville, you don't want to, no team ever wants to go down to Smashville in playoffs, hitting Bridgestone on Broadway. Like that is a raucous environment. They're going to be buzzing. To me, Vancouver's just gone wire to wire. And I want to respect that. They went wire to wire. They don't have the President's Trophy bullshit hanging over them. They don't have all this attention on them. They're just a really good, solid team. Quinn Hughes has been the best defenseman in the NHL all season long. I know he is geared up for these playoffs. They've got such insane talent. They've got angry JT Miller. They've got silky Elias Pettersson. They've got goal machine Brock Besser. I really like their depth. I think Elias Lindholm has, he's not been the best. I think he's got 12 points in 26 games or something like that since the trade. But with the lack of pressure on him going into the playoffs here, I could see a big switch for him. I could see him finding his game, finding his rhythm. I think they're going to poop their pants early, though.
Okay.
I think they're going to get into playoffs, and they haven't been in playoffs in a little bit. I think this is these guys have faced off against each other once before in 2011, and Vancouver won the series, obviously headed to a cup final against Boston. There's not a lot of crazy history or bad blood between these two teams. They both missed playoffs last year. 6 of the 8 teams in the West in the playoffs this year are the same as they were last year. The 2 new teams are Vancouver and Nashville. And look at that, they're playing each other.
Sick.
So they're both going to have jitters. They're both going to have excitement. And I think there is this stupid narrative. I mean, I don't mean to say stupid because I kind of understand it, but I think it's overblown. An overblown narrative is a better phrase, of this team being young and scared and nervous and getting into playoffs and not knowing what to do with themselves. I don't think that that's true in totality, but I do think they're going to poop their pants in like the first 3 games and lose 1 or 2. And people are going to be like, oh my God. But I just think they are the better team. I think they're incredibly well coached by Rick Tocchet. Mm-hmm. I think they have really solid depth that when I look at the matchup, Nashville's depth is so underrated. You've got a guy like Luke Evangelista who is in that Calder conversation. He's had an unbelievable rookie year and he's playing on that 3rd line.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Gus Nyquist, dude. People had Gus Nyquist buried 6 feet underground. He's got over 70 points this season. It's unbelievable. And then you've got cup winners. You've got, Ryan O'Reilly. Like that's just a great guy that you have in Nashville. So I say all this as to point out that they are balanced, both teams. So it's a good matchup. I just think the way Vancouver has done it from start to finish is eventually going to overweigh it, and they're going to take the series.
Swept the season series 3-0.
Yep.
But I think they were done playing each other by December. So this is a totally different Nashville team. I don't mean literally the players. I just mean the vibe there. Like they really gelled as we all saw. What scares me about Nashville is that first line, man, is, when you got Flip and O'Reilly and Nyquist, like you said, everybody having awesome years, but you're going to need more than that in the playoffs. We all know that. So somebody's going to have to step up, or can you contain them if you're the Canucks? I love Elias Lindholm. Longtime listeners have heard me talk about him a million times over. I want him to be a Bruin, but like you said, Dan, he's not playing like the 80-point guy that I think he is right now. And I think they will need that, as deep as they are. Unbelievable years from JT Miller, from Besser, from Quinn, from Petey. But I think you need an Elias Lindholm centering your second line and performing. Because if that's a goose egg, he's like a -6 since he came over. I'm like, that can't be going that way on line 2. Goaltending. On paper, amazing matchup, but kind of interesting when you look at it. Saros, 906, 286 this year. Not really a Saros caliber year.
Yeah.
Demko, top 3 in the league pre-injury, missed a ton of time, went out March 9th, came back, got 2 regular season games in, which I actually think was really important. Looked great in his first one back in the win against the Flames, but then looked bad in the, I think they lost to the Jets even, but didn't look as good in his second game. So I'll be really interested to see if he's dealing with any rust or whatever. Their special teams don't matter to me that much. You brought up Quinn, Dan. I'll tell you this, man. I found this awesome stat. Yossi, since December 1st, leads every defenseman in everything, bro. More than Quinn, more than Kale. Yeah. So everyone's kind of like, oh, the Canucks got Quinn. I'm like, well, the Preds got Yossi, and he's absolutely killing it right now. I'm banking on the Preds are such a scary wild card team because they're peaking. Maybe they were peaking a month or 2 ago, but they got hot at the right time. They really improved at this right part of the season. And they're really good, Dan, evenly on the road and at home. It's not one of those wildcard teams where they're like, we dominate at home, we get waxed on the road. So it's like all the top seed has to do is just try to come steal one in Smashville. Nashville can beat you anywhere, dude. And I am banking my Preds in 6 pick big time on not just the Canucks pooping their pants, bro. I'm talking full blowout. We got shit up their backs, all the way up into the bottom of their hair, dude. They're going to need haircuts from all the shit that fired up out of that diaper now that they're in the playoffs for the first time in a long time. And I know the Preds weren't here either last year, but I just think there are guys on that team, McDonough, Ryan O'Reilly, that can be like, yo, here we go, boys. We got them. Like if they get one, dude, if they get one in Vancouver from those first 2, fucking going back to Nashville, split, they're like, here we fucking go. We can do it. And I think they might just get it done.
They're definitely going to have that confidence. And you're so right about Yossi, dude. 85 points this year, over a point per game, second season in a row with more than 80 points. The guy's a machine, and he does score a lot of goals, and he scores big goals. He scores OT goals. It's crazy what he does. I do think a huge thing of this series is going to be early and often. If Vancouver gets on the board early, they're going to win this series. The Vancouver scored the first goal in 53 games this year, most in the NHL. They have a 717 win percentage when they score first. So I think that's going to be a big thing to keep an eye on. If
That's a
they
sick stat, Dan.
overcome the jitters and yeah, if they overcome the jitters and they get on the board quick, I think they take it, because that, to me, it's the stuff that we talked about with the Rangers, right? I want to see, if you had regular season success, I want to see that regular season success translating into the playoffs. With the Rangers, I want to see Panarin leading the charge, getting on the score sheet, scoring goals. I want to see that third line. I want to see that second line, those guys producing. With Vancouver, for me, I want to see that really high intense offense and the quick trigger, get on the board early and beat your opponent into submission because they're down the whole game. I want to see that early. And if we do, I think they're going to take it.
They're in good shape.
Squad, I want to talk to you really quick about June Shine. I know there's a ton of different drinks out on the market right now, and a lot of these canned cocktails are starting to make their waves. And the next craze has got to be June Shine, because let me tell you what, all of these canned cocktails, I've had them all. They all have that chalky, sugary taste, that artificial taste that you don't like. And after a couple of them, they start tasting terrible and you just can't have that many. Well, June Shine has figured that out. June Shine uses all of the best spirits and all natural fruit juice. They have no added sugars, none. So every single one that you open is going to taste fresh, and it's going to taste like it was made by a bartender at your favorite pub. June Shine has a bunch of delicious flavors. They've got a huge variety, and they're coming in starting at 10% ABV. So you get that nice shot and a half mix. You get a nice buzz, feeling great with all of those delicious flavors. Their margarita hits so different. Feels like it was made at a nice cabana right on the beach with a nice salt rim. Every single one of their drinks tastes natural, tastes fresh, and you have no mess, no cleanup, no nothing. They're perfect for every scenario. Watching the game, hanging out for a happy hour, or if you're throwing a party or going to a party and you need to contribute, everyone loves some June Shine. Their kombuchas are delicious as well. That's what got me into them. I'm loving those hard kombuchas and all the amazing flavors they have. So June Shine is really covering our bases every single way possible. The best part is, too, June Shine cares about the environment. Their brewery is sustained with 100% sustainable energy. Unbelievable stuff. Give me a break. They have carbon neutral things going on here. They care about the environment. They care about the planet. June Shine is just responsible. They're delicious, and they're taking over the canned cocktail game. Get yours today, because I know you're drinking these things and you want to have the best one. And that is, without a doubt, June Shine.
All right. Last but certainly not least, round 3. The Edmonton Oilers versus the Los Angeles Kings.
Oof.
I also changed my pick on this one, Dan. I had a pick, and then right before we started recording, I changed my pick. Are you ready?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. Oilers
Kings
in
in
5.
7.
That was my pick, dude. I went so hard 180. I literally had Kings in 7. I will show it to you, dude. I went.
If you're gonna flip, at least give it the sweep, dude. At least give McDavid.
I should have. That's why I went 5. I went so hard. Damn, dude. I'm actually glad you took Kings in 7, because I really wanted to take that. It just felt like this feels like the year that they're least likely to do it. So of course they're going to do it. That was my logic. Is that what you were thinking?
Yeah, I'm also like, I'm just going for drama. Like, if people want to roast me in the comments here, being like, when Edmonton wins this in 5 or 4, honestly, if people want to skewer me, go for it. But I'm just rooting for drama here. Like, to me, it's third year in a row. Guys like Dewey and Kopi are getting a little bit older. I could see them being like, fuck these guys. Let's just fucking do it. They had it last year. It was over and they blew it. There's a part of me that thinks that we just might see some magic here. And it's going to be one of those things where you kill yourself to kill the opponent, and the Kings will get swept in round 2. But God damn it, would I love to see it. I don't know, man. The Kings aren't slouches, dude. I said that they'd be in the Stanley Cup final in January, and then they went into a coma.
Yeah.
But they've been so much better since. People forget that. Like, they're beating very good teams down the stretch here. And at the end of the day, man, they finished 3rd in the Pacific, in a very tough Pacific. Like, let's not forget that. They didn't sneak into the playoffs. Like, they finished 3rd. They want to get a big game here against Chicago to finish third and now play Edmonton. Like they clearly, you know what I love about that, dude? They went into that overtime and they won knowing that they would face Edmonton, and they weren't fucking scared of that at all. And I love that confidence.
And Blake tells us that the people that he still talks to the organization all the time wanted it. They're like, dude, fucking bring it on. You said it, dude. Kempe, Fiala, Kopi, great years, 70+ points. Breakout years from QB, from our boy Trevor Moore.
Yes, sir.
PLD band finishes the year 82 games, 16 goals, 24 assists, 40 points, -9. Can't happen, right? Cannot happen. You know how that gets forgotten, Dan? Eight points in the first round against Edmonton. You know,
go playoff hero mode. Exactly.
So it's like people want to get on him, and if he fucking lays a goose egg in the playoffs, then get on him. But just if he steps up and you're getting production there and you're getting production from Deneau, it could be okay. One thing I found too, Dan, Oilers power play in the league this year, 4th, always firing that power play.
Yeah.
Kings PK, 2nd in the league. That was a killer in that series last year. Remember? Every fucking time Edmonton went on the power play, it was a fucking automatic goal. They were scoring at 50%. If that gets neutralized, that's a huge factor.
Definitely. And I'll tell you what, man, you look at what makes Edmonton so successful. Great net front goals from Hyman, absolutely. But obviously the big two are Connor and Leon. And when I think about shutdown Selke type guys in the league in that center position, you always look at Kopi and then Phil Deneau. Phil Deneau is such a good 200-foot center. And if you're matching those two guys up against Edmonton's big two guys, that looks good. And it looks great that they can try to neutralize, in a way, their Edmonton's power play with that fantastic PK. Another lopsided one, Chris. Edmonton won 3 of 4, I think, in the regular season here. A couple of those came in the brutal skid for the Kings, however, so it's maybe not that indicative of how it's going to go, but it's been interesting to see here on the West. Every matchup has a super lopsided regular season. Either they were sweeps or 3-1. You know, it's nuts. But I don't know. I think this is also a funny one where all the pressure is on Edmonton. All of it.
Yes, interesting point, Dan. That's
you would like to think going into this, the Kings would feel some pressure of 3rd year in a row, first round, and you lost 2. Are you about to lose 3? But the Kings are coming off of this like really weird stretch, so it does feel like it's all on Edmonton. Love that this is a battle of the new coaches too.
Yeah,
both of these teams had to fire their coaches mid-season after a really, really poor stretch. So this is going to be a fiery series. I think we're going to get game 1 fireworks. I think it's going to be chippy. I think it's going to be firing from first puck drop.
Corey Perry's going to be be for sure. Because we told you guys that signing was all for playoffs. So we hear now for Corey Perry. 13 points in 38 games, regular season didn't matter. It's Corey Perry time now.
Talk to me though.
I wanted to say, Dan, you were talking about Connor and Leon. Hyman, obviously damn near 60 goals. Bouchard, incredible year. But dude, as always with Edmonton, after that, it kind of falls off, right? Like RNH this year, Dan, ho-hum, 67 points. Like he's been his whole fucking life, 50, 60 point guy. Like he goes 104 last year and everyone's like, dude, see, that's the guy. And I'm like, I don't think so. Like, this is the guy. He scored 18 goals this year. That's the RNH we got. So, and Henrique, 9 points in 22 games. Not that they need him to be a world beater, but there's just not a ton of action if you can slow down the big dogs, which is not easy, obviously.
You know who I do want to give flowers to? Evan Bouchard.
Yeah.
We included him in our top 100 this last season. And last year, he just came out of nowhere with an insane year. And he finishes this year with 82 points. I think he was 4th amongst defensemen, right above Victor Hedman. Just like, he is so fucking good. So quick stick taps to him. Yep. This is a funny goalie matchup.
Yes, this is the last thing I want to talk about. Yeah, go.
And I was going to say, I imagine you had some good shit on this, so hit me.
Skinner, Dan, we're on him a lot. He finishes the year, 59 games, 905 save percentage, 262 goals against. And just for reference, dude, like I was saying at the top, Otter, 905 save percentage, 272. So
we did say that wasn't good from Otter. I'm not going to sit here and say that's great. That's not a stat line for a goalie where I go into playoffs confidently going, yep, I have no worries about this guy.
Agree. Agree. And in fact, Dan, you go into Skinner feeling, I think, exactly how you felt last year, which is he's pretty good, but I just don't know which guy I'm going to get game to game. Yep. Not even series to series. So that's what's scary. Cam Talbot, Dan, and we've given him a lot of heat too, but 913 save percentage, 250 goals against. Much better in both, not much, but significantly better in both categories. I'll say this, Dan, the last two series these teams played, certainly last year, but it felt like the Kings had a real chance at both, and they just couldn't get that one fucking save to hold on to a game. And then it went to OT, and then they lost. And I don't think that Cam Talbot is necessarily a fucking hero in between the pipes, but could he give you one save this year? Maybe that one big save that saves a game, wins a game. Like, it's not outside the realm of possibility. So if they're going to do it, if they're going to do your Kings in 7, he has to stand on his fucking head, but he could.
Absolutely, Chris. And like I said, this feels like a kill yourself to kill your enemy series for Los Angeles. With how this season...
Yeah, keep going.
No, please.
I was just going to say, if it's Oilers in 5, it is a step back. Remember last year we were like, well, it was Oilers in 6, but they did take a step forward. If this one is Oilers in 5, it is a kill yourself. Then that's it.
Agree. And we're going to see some changes. That's for sure. I'll tell you what, though. If the Kings beat this Oilers team in round 1 and then get swept in round 2, after the season that they've had, might as well be a Stanley Cup, dude. Yeah. Like this, I really feel like this Kings team and the fan base, this series is a Stanley Cup. If you can win this,
they want it so bad.
That is such an awesome feather in your cap for this season after the bullshit that you've gone through. It'll be a nice reset for guys like PL. It's like, all right, bad year, shake it off. And also, man, PL's been much better the second half of the year. I do look at the lack of moves by LA at the deadline as a big detriment right now. That is one where I kind of feel like if you could point to one great lockdown defenseman, you could point to one middle six forward that is going to get you some important playoff goals, or the big one was if you could have swung that Ullmark trade, maybe if that's what it was, and you were going in with a certified blue chip goaltender, I would be going into the series being like, oh, we're fucking definitely winning.
Yep.
With like drunk confidence, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I could see this going Kings in 7, and I could absolutely see it going Oilers in honestly 4 or 5, because we might just get, Dracula Connor, where he's like, I am going to suck you all dry and just not let anyone have anything to say.
Yeah.
I could see that easily. But, Drew Doughty,
it could happen.
Reached down into the fountain of youth this season. Kopi shows that he's not slowing down. We had big jumps from a few guys on this team. The Kings are not. I don't think they're going to lay down easily here. And there is bad blood. They want it. This is going to be a fun series.
Yep. Okay, to recap, we both have Stars in 7.
Yep.
You have Jets in 6. I have Avs in 7.
Yep.
You have Canucks in 6. I have Preds in 6.
So disrespectful, by the way, not giving Vancouver at least 7 and now.
I just thought they'd do it at home, like that. You do it in that last home game to try to close the deal. And then you have Kings in 7, which I fucking love so much. I have Oilers in 5 like a bitch.
No, dude, probably like Nostradamus, but I want the drama.
Me too.
The drama.
Me too.
All right, that's the Western Conference playoff preview. Emergency episodes. We love it. We're in it, guys. Tomorrow.
Let's go.
Bang. Puck drops on playoffs. Strap in. Hold on to your butts. We are ready to rock. And until we see you next time,
skate hard.
Like it's game 7 of the playoffs.